Hello everyone, welcome to another clip from Tapped Out for What. Going to be doing the Carnage Bant breakdown after a little bit of an update. Brought me through to Platinum this morning, so let's get into it. I'm going to start off in mana cost. We're going to be doing it in order of mana cost, so start with one of Spell Pierce here. I mean, a couple of them might be too many. Right at one seems to be just about the right number. It's sometimes it shows up and outperforms, and if it shows up and I don't really need it, I can get rid of it with some Chemist's Insights, and usually I can tax people for a couple extra mana to be able to counter with something else. Overall, it's just a utility spell, but I think it's a great include as a one-of in the deck. Next we have Growth Spiral. This card, of course, like I said before, it's in every blue-green deck, and it's just a great way to interact with really fast decks to be able to get to your Cleansing Novas or your Settle the Wreckage a little bit earlier. Allows me to land threats earlier, and does kind of the theme behind this deck, which is draw a ton of cards and get to what I really need and sculpt my hand. So it's been, like I said, one of my favorite cards in the deck. Alright, next we have Revitalize. Revitalize as just a cantrip to be able to draw a card and then gain 3 life has allowed me to turn a terrible matchup with mono red to a matchup that I'm actually winning a majority of my matches with. So of course I'm just going to run 4 of those, be able to keep my life total up, and with all the draw on the deck, it just synchronizes really well. So, and then we have Root Snare. Root Snare, kind of the whole idea of the deck is to make it to the late game, and this has helped me out tremendously. Mono red laying down all those fast creatures real early, and it allows me to, if they've got a whole pile of creatures out, it allows me to stall a turn, and I find my opponent extending out a little bit more the next turn, so it allows me to get a few more creatures removed with, your Cleansing Nova or your Settle the Wreckage. So, super important to the deck. Then we have Negate. Now, Negate seems kind of like a niche card, but every deck in the format is running something that's negatable. And it's just been an all-star when I've needed it, even if it's just countering a lightning strike or a wizard's lightning or a skew of the critics. I always love countering light up the stage with this. They, if I'm on the play, they drop their 1-drop, and then on their second turn swing and light up the stage, and I can negate it. Pretty good quality of not allowing the red deck to draw 2 cards. So it's been performing well. Absorb, in my opinion, the best counter in Standard right now. It's a great tempo move to be able to counter spell and gain 3 life. All around great card. Not much to be said about it. Just an all-star. Dovin's a cutie. Notice I went from 2 down to 1. It's one of the cards that I decided to remove to slot 3 to fairies in the deck because I can't avoid playing that card. We'll get to that later though. Dovin's a cutie. I've actually had red players scoop to me just because I play this card with a bunch of cantrips, gain enough life to where they don't even have a hope of coming back and burning me out. So it's just another niche card that when it performs well, it wins you the game. Chemist's Insight the ability to draw 2 cards and then to filter out a card I don't exactly need, like some of the silver bullets that I'm running in my deck. Seems pretty good. It's been performing well, and I think 3 is right about the right spot for it. 4 might be too many, can clunk up some of your hands in the early game. If you just draw, say, like 3 of these and some mana, you're probably not going to survive the day. So 3 is just about right. Been edging maybe towards 2, but I haven't had too many opening hand problems with it, so 3 seems just about there. Next we have Settle the Wreckage. Settle the Wreckage. A lot of people like this spell. I like it pretty decently, but more times than not, if you have 4 mana open, your opponent's gonna attack selectively and you're not gonna nab everything. And when you're trying to make it to the late game, play your impactful spells, and they're just playing properly and just attacking with enough damage to keep the pressure down, and you have to fire one of these off and they still have creatures on the board and you have no interaction for them later, then it's not the greatest. But sometimes decks just don't care and they turn sideways, and this performs like an all-star. So I couldn't not include Settle the Wreckage, but one of, I think, is right with its better counterpart, Cleansing Nova, coming next. The ability to destroy all creatures and destroy all artifacts and enchantments, being able to choose either or, is great. I mean, this means that this card is not dead against control, because they're currently playing Search for Escanta and any exile enchantments, and there's a whole slew of enchantments that Control's running right now. So this card's never a dead card. It's always has something to do. So really like the card. 3 of's just about right. I've been really close to bumping this up to a 4 of, but there's just the slots in this deck, and then it being a best of 1 format, 3 seems like the best number to me. So after that, we have good old Mr. Teferi. I tried playing the deck without Teferi because the idea of winning a game just by tucking Teferi and making your opponent draw his deck does not allure to me. But turns out that he's the best planeswalker in Standard, and just playing him as a utility card to supplement my wins with Carnage Tyrant has been an excellent choice. Upped my win percentage already, even though the deck was performing pretty well without him. But enough said. You've all heard plenty about Teferi. You all know what he does. He helps you win games, that's for sure. So for the namesake of the deck, here's the good old Carney boy. And Carnage Tyrant is just an amazing win condition. Not very many decks run a good number of ways to interact with him. So yeah, that's enough said about him. I mean, I am unstoppable. He's got this little arm grabber, and he's just honestly the best creature in Standard right now. It's so hard to interact with him. So 3 of, 4 of can muddle up your opening hand a little bit, and I definitely don't want to be discarding him. So 3 is just about right. Now we have Syncopate. We're going into the X spell. Syncopate, 1 of. It also helps you in those weird situations where you can have a counter spell at 2 mana, or you can hold up all the mana you need to be able to interact with your opponent. With the growth spirals, it's pretty well assured that you're going to be ahead of your opponent in mana unless they're playing a ramp strategy or anything like that. So, yeah, it's performed well when I need it. I've almost never had to just hold it in my hand. There's always been a use for it since I'm, drawing so many cards with the deck. I always have other cards to interact. So whether it's over a counter battle or your opponent's trying to push that little bit of damage in, and you cast your fog for the turn or whatever, and they try to counter it, and you can just snap back and counter with Syncopate. So it's been doing well. And to round out the list, we have Hydroid Krasis. It's a 2-of. It's another win condition, or it can be another win condition. And sometimes it's just draw half X, gain half X, but it's still, for its mana cost and its utility, is a great creature. It's a great include, and it has saved my life against burn at least a couple of times, being able to, gain the life, draw the cards, and then have a big enough blocker to clog up the road and not allow the red deck to just attack all willy-nilly as it wants. So this one has performed well. And the lands are pretty well basic. If you have any questions on that, you can always ask. But it's just, it runs 24 lands. Would run maybe a little bit more, but we have all that card draw, and we have the growth spirals, and it seems to be the right number. So with that, that's been the deck breakdown for Carnage Bant. And again, this is Tapped Out for What, with Oberon the Meaty speaking here. So thank you all for watching the video, and if you like what you see, and you're not already, follow and like the page to get more content. I try to record as often as I can. I do still have a 40-plus hour a week job, but I tend to get a decent amount of content out there to keep y'all interested. So I will catch you guys on the next episode, and yet again, thank you.